This is the CBS Evening News with Walter Cronkite.
Good evening. A Frontier Airlines plane hijacked this morning in Nebraska is still on the ground this evening in Atlanta. Its lone hijacker, an accused bank robber, is still sticking to his demands, which include $3 million and freedom for his homosexual lover. Late this afternoon, 2 stewardesses were released from the plane, leaving 13 hostages still aboard. David Dick reports from Atlanta.
Frontier Flight 101 made its unscheduled landing at Hartsfield International Airport just outside Atlanta shortly after the noon hour Eastern Time. FBI agents and local law enforcement officers were stationed at points around the huge airport. The Boeing 737 taxied to a remote area near the air cargo terminal. There it was parked. There the negotiations began. The lone hijacker, 29-year-old Thomas Michael Hannon from Grand Island, Nebraska, was free on bond while awaiting to go on trial on a bank robbery charge. One of his demands was the release from jail here of 29-year-old George David Stewart, who was charged with the same bank holdup here last month. Stewart was described by Mobile police as Hannon's homosexual lover. The jet remained parked as normal air operations resumed. Points to be negotiated, a demand for $3 million, 2 parachutes, 2 machine guns, 2 .45 caliber pistols, and Stewart's release from the Fulton County Jail. The local sheriff said Stewart was moved this morning to an undisclosed location. An armored truck was driven into view, but there was no known transfer of money. The only concession made to the skyjacker was the delivery of 16 hamburgers, 16 milkshakes, and 2 cartons of cigarettes. The skyjacker is believed still armed with a sawed-off shotgun, his mood described as calm, but at one point he warned the chief FBI negotiator over a 2-way radio, "My life is next to over. I have nothing to lose." Late today, the careful negotiations appeared to be paying off. A man believed to be George Stewart was brought to the plane. At one point, the door of the plane opened and several people emerged. Then the door closed again. Negotiations with the hijacker and officials are apparently continuing. David Dick, CBS News, Atlanta.
The hijacker took command of the Boeing 737 at 6:30 in the morning in Grand Island, Nebraska. When armed with a sawed-off shotgun, he burst through the airport security area.
And he pulled the weapon out of the suitcase?
Yes. That's right.
What kind of a weapon was it?
Well, probably a sawed-off shotgun.
And what did he say to you?
He said, if you come any closer, he'd kill me.
And then he rushed out the door?
Right, on the airplane.
About an hour after takeoff, the plane landed at Kansas City International Airport to refuel for the flight to Atlanta. The hijacker, Thomas Hannon, reportedly was persuaded by a friend who happened to be on board to release the women and children. He also allowed his friend and a male passenger with heart problems to leave. 12 members of the Jelnick family were on board. All but the 2 fathers, Donald and David, were allowed to deplane in Kansas City.
There was no panic. He was very calm at all times, showed no emotion. There was no emotion really until they asked the ladies and children to get off. And
what happened then? What was it like leaving husbands, leaving wives, leaving husbands, and so forth?
Crying, lots of crying, and children especially.
Did you and your dad talk very much before you left?
Yeah.
No.
I asked him a couple of questions, like, what do you suppose they'll do with this when we get here or whatever, and he really didn't know.
Did he say anything to you as you were leaving?
He told us to go on and that he'd be all right. I'm hoping that he still is.
Many passengers without relatives on the plane left Kansas City later in the day. Others, like the Jelnick family, have said that they will remain at the airport until the fate of their loved ones is determined. Bob Jordan, CBS News, Kansas City.
Roman meal makes great sandwiches. Great toast, too. Here's why. Roman meal contains coarsely ground whole grain wheat and